Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. This video is the continuation of the War Magic video where we look at spells from the different books in Pathfinder. We're in the Planar Adventure book today, and we look at spells from 1st level to 6th level, and we see how effective they'd be on a medieval style battlefield where you got that two opposing forces doing their big shield walls and cavalry or sieging a location and whatnot. So without further ado, we'll do the arcane list in this video, and then there'll be a separate video for the divine list from this book in the future. So without further ado, let's dive into the sorcerer wizard spell list and see what arcane spells you would get out of the planar adventures and if they'd be useful on a medieval battlefield. Bestow planar infusion 1. Grant the target the effect of a planar infusion. Positive pulse. Energy harms undead or bolsters the living. Songbird. Conjure music from a good aligned plane. Let's look up bestow planar infusion and positive pulse. Lasts 1 hour per level. This spell draws upon the latent planar energy of the caster's surroundings, allowing them to temporarily infuse a creature with the plane's power. The touch creature gains the plane's basic infusion for the spell's duration. It has no effect on the material plane and ends as soon as the target leaves the plane. Once a creature gains the benefits, it remains attuned to the plane for 24 hours. Additional castings of this spell just give the same benefit that the initial casting gave. So you'd have to look up the plane and see what the infusion benefit would be for that spell. So if you're doing planar warfare, I could see that being beneficial. Problem is it's single target, so you'd have to give it to all your soldiers as a one-use like potion. And then positive pulse. Five-foot radius, so it has to be really close to you. If you're using it to hurt undead, they need to make a will save or take 1d6 points of damage, plus 1 point for every 2 caster levels to a maximum of plus 5. This does not heal creatures that are healed by positive energy. Instead, those creatures get a +2 on saving throws against death effects, energy drain, negative energy levels, and effects directly caused by haunts. This bonus lasts for 1 round. So it's a good way to hurt undead. I can see that being very useful in a military application. Put it on some one-use items, say some flasks that have a 5-foot detonation. You could also throw those on one-use ammunitions. Now on to 2nd level spells. Diminish resistance. Weaken a creature's resistance to one type of energy. If you know that the enemy knows that you're going to use a specific type of energy, you could have this prepared and use it as a counter. But as far as a big military battle goes, unless you can do it in a mass effect, it's not going to be as useful. Infuse self. This is 3rd level spell. Assume the form of a native outsider. Okay, well that just makes you a native outsider. So you can't be banished. Okay, so that might be okay. But if you're doing a big military campaign, you need to apply that to all your soldiers, so a bunch of one-use items that could grant that would be beneficial. If you gave it to your strike force and they did a raid, that'd be really good too. We're on to 4th level spells. Anywhere but here, transport yourself and willing creatures to a random planar destination. That's a good get out of dodge spell. Bestow planar infusion 2. Grant a target the effect of an improved planar infusion. Okay. Homeward bound. Return a creature to its home plane. That can be... I'm not sure that's the same as banishment as far as how effective that could be. Greater positive pulse. A large pulse of positive energy damaging undead and bolstering living creatures. So if that radius is better, yeah, it's a 15-foot radius and does 3d6 damage. Now put that on ammunition and you're really going to destroy a whole bunch of undead. Shadow invasion. Create an area of darkness that strengthens shadow spells and attracts chitons. So the best out of the 4th level spells is definitely the greater positive pulse. But I could see shadow invasion being useful. And I could see anywhere but here being very useful for your PCs, especially when they're doing their strike force stuff. Your 6th level spells. So there are no 5th level spells listed here, so it jumps to 6th level spells. Step. Step briefly into the ethereal plane to avoid attacks and dangers that would otherwise harm you. That could be very useful, especially for regular military. If you gave that to... If you know the enemy is going to say, attack your archers, and you give that to your archers, and it's going to be a big flashy attack, like they're launching a bunch of boulders from catapults or whatever at the archers. They can use the step to not be harmed. Hasten judgment. Quicken a soul's journey to judgment, hampering resurrection or weakening undead foes. Anything that weakens undead foes can be very useful against an undead army. So I can see that being very useful, especially if you can apply it to more than one. I don't think you can though, so let's look at this. 1 living or corporal undead creature. So if you were attacking their general, it might be useful, but spell resistance applies and they get a will save. That said, undead will saves tend to be weak. Well, there's not as many spells that would have been as useful on a battlefield out of this book. That said, this was only the arcane list. The next video will be cleric and druid spells. So, until we all game again, guys.